This Day in Sports History. This episode is brought to you by the Sterling Soap Company. Sterling Soap is 100% natural and with a variety of bath soaps, shave soaps, beard balm, lotions, cologne, and many more personal care products in a large variety of scents, you're sure to find something that's perfect for you or that special someone in your life. Check them out at sterlingsoap.com. And welcome back to This Day in Sports History, a member of the Sports History Network, where you can find more podcasts and more info at sportshistorynetwork.com. It's June 6th, and on this day in 1993, a brawl nearly halted Cal Ripken Jr.'s attempt to break Lou Gehrig's Ironman streak. The Baltimore Orioles were at home on this day, closing out a 3-game series with the Seattle Mariners. The O's had built up a 5-1 lead in the fifth on a couple of home runs, one by Harold Baines and another by Mike Devereaux. Mariners starter Chris Bosio had buzzed the tower on a couple of Baltimore batters after those homers, raising the temperature and the tension in the game. In the seventh, with O's starter Mike Mussina still on the mound, Seattle catcher Bill Hasselman came to the plate with 2 outs. Now, Hasselman had hit a solo shot of his own in the fifth, and he was about to be singled out for a purpose pitch of his own.
Bill Hasselman comes up for the third time with 2 outs, nobody on in the seventh. Oh, here we go. Hasselman charging the mound. He and Mussina get after it. Tackett dives in, and both benches have emptied. A full-scale brawl.
Ripken rushed to the mound from his shortstop position in what he said was an effort to stop the Mariner bench from joining in the melee, but he soon found himself on his back in the bottom of a pile.
When I tried to stop the whole team from coming over, I sprained my knee. I turned and the grass slipped, and I felt a pop in my knee, but your adrenaline's popping so hard when you're in the middle of that I didn't even think about it until play resumed. I was standing in the on-deck circle, and I said, man, this kind of hurts. And I went ahead and swung the bat, and it kind of hurt when I took my stride. So then after the game was over, I put some ice on it, and the next morning, when I put my foot out of bed, I couldn't stand on it. And I thought, oh, this is not good. And I remember calling my mom, that morning, and just to give her the quick heads up, I go, look, I hurt my knee in the brawl. I don't think I'm going to be able to play. I just want to let you know that early enough.
So at this point, Ripken had not missed a game since May 30th, 1982, but was still more than 2 years away from eclipsing Lou Gehrig's record for consecutive games played. And while the sports world held its breath about whether he would or would not play, Cal said he really was not that concerned about the streak ending right there if that's what needed to happen.
It's hard to convince people that I was okay with whatever happened. I mean, I was a baseball player. I wasn't obsessed with the streak because my dad said everyday players play every day. There was not this moment of like, oh my gosh, the streak is over. I didn't think that way.
When the lineup card was delivered to the home plate ump in a series opener with Oakland on the 7th, Cal Ripken's name was penciled in, and he played the entire game, going 1 for 2 with a pair of walks, and he scored a run in a 3-2 win for Baltimore, and the streak continued on. So from that brawl that almost ended Ripken's Ironman streak, let's go to another melee that happened on this day back in 1984, when the most famous hard foul in NBA Finals history changed the tone of the game and the series, but not in the way that you might have expected. This was Game 4 of the NBA Finals between Boston and Los Angeles. This was also the first NBA Finals that featured Larry Bird and Magic after their showdown in the NCAA Final back in 1979. Magic's Showtime Lakers were up 2-1 in the series, and with about 7 minutes to play in the third quarter, LA was up 6. There was a feeling that the Lakers were getting ready to run the Celtics out of the gym and the series. With 5 minutes to go, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar grabbed a missed Celtic shot and started the fast break with an outlet pass to James Worthy.
Here's Kareem, outlet to Worthy. Rambis. And now let's watch it. Cooper and the Celtics, and now the bench is empty. As Larry Bird helps Kurt Rambis up, he was decked by 2 Celtics and hit the floor hard, and both benches have emptied. And you knew this was going to happen. You could see it coming.
McHale made no play on the ball, and Rambis hopped up quickly, itching for a fight. If it had not been for his teammate James Worthy giving him a little shove into the courtside photographers, who knows what would have happened. Instead, as the benches cleared and pushing and shoving and words were exchanged, Rambis was helped to his feet by Larry Bird. A foul was called on McHale, and the foul was the talk of the series at that point, and McHale addressed it the following day along with Lakers coach Pat Riley.
It was an unfortunate incident. It was just a case of two people running in opposite directions, and I reached out to grab him like this, and he was running so doggone fast that my arm just kept going. I couldn't get my other hand around him to grab him. You know, I did try to grab him. I've stated this before. If there's anybody on that team I wouldn't want to hurt, it's Kurt.
You see it, I saw it, and in my mind that was as flagrant a foul as I've ever seen.
So you would think that the Lakers would have taken umbrage and that hard foul would have lit something inside of them. Instead, it was the Celtics who went on a run and sent the game to overtime. And then when Magic missed a pair of free throws and then committed an unusual turnover on an inbounds pass, the Celtics won the game 129-125. When the series returned to Boston for Game 5, Celtics fans started heckling Johnson as Tragic Johnson. This game was physical, not just the McHale foul on Rambis, but Michael Cooper and Bird got into a little shoving contest in the second quarter. Worthy fouled Bird hard in the third quarter. Bird and Kareem nearly got into a fight in the fourth. Larry Legend ended the night with 29 points and 21 assists in the win, but the signature moment was the McHale foul. Celtic Cedric Cornbread Maxwell described it this way: "Before that play, the Lakers were like little kids just running across the street without looking. But after that play, they would stop, press the walk button, wait for the light to turn, then look both ways." The Celtics would go on to win the series in 7 games. Well, from those hotheads, let's transition to another well-known human volcano. On this day in 1990, George Steinbrenner fired his manager, Bucky Dent. And yeah, I know, Steinbrenner firing a manager midway through a season is about as noteworthy as, James Patterson releasing a new book or a new Marvel movie coming out. It happened with great regularity. Well, at this point, Steinbrenner had owned the Yankees for 18 years, and Dent was the 18th manager that he'd fired. But there was a little more to it than just another one of Steinbrenner's axings. First, the fact Bucky Dent was still the manager was a little bit of a surprise anyway. Steinbrenner seemed to be pissed off at just about everybody that year. He had been locked in a feud with Dave Winfield that we talked about a few weeks ago, and he'd shipped him off to California. He'd battled with Don Mattingly in negotiating a new contract before the season started. And after taking over for Dallas Green as manager back in 1989, it was kind of surprising that Bucky was still the manager at the start of the season. Dent had only managed to win 18 of the 40 games that he'd managed to finish out the year. In December of '89, Billy Martin had been rumored to be coming back to manage the Yankees for a 6th time. In fact, he told a lot of people that he was going to be back in the pinstripes by spring training. But unfortunately, Martin died in a car accident on Christmas Day, 1989. Prior to the start of the year, though, Steinbrenner had announced that Bucky Dent is my manager all year. He lasted less than half of it. He won just 18 of the first 49 games and was at a loss at what to do. Both his best hitter, Don Mattingly, and his presumed number 1 starting pitcher, Pascual Perez, were injured. After losing 9-8 on the road at Boston for their 5th consecutive loss the night before, Dent was fired. Now, the Yankees were the worst team in baseball at this point, and nothing would have indicated that things were going to get any better no matter who they brought in. They were an anemic .248 at the plate and not much better pitching the ball either, with no reliable starter in the clubhouse. But there was a hint of cruelty in Dent's firing by telephone on this day when the team was in Boston, because Dent had become a Yankee hero back in 1978 when he hit a 3-run shot off Mike Torres over Fenway Park's Green Monster to lift the Yankees to a win in a 1-game playoff against the Red Sox. Dent, who may be one of the nicest guys in the history of baseball, could not believe that George had fired him in Boston. He's Bucky effing Dent, the MVP, the hero of the '78 season. In the Bronx Zoo sports doc on Peacock, Yankees longtime broadcaster Michael Kay said firing Bucky while the team was in Boston was the ultimate insult and the unkindest kick in the cubes you could have. Dent was replaced by Stump Merrill, who managed to do only slightly better than Bucky in the win department, and the Yankees finished dead last in the American League. Maybe the 90s Yankees just needed something to rally around, like a monkey. Yeah, on this day in 2000, the Rally Monkey made its first appearance at an Angels game. The then Anaheim Angels were playing San Francisco, and they were down 5-4 heading into the bottom of the ninth. And that's when the scoreboard played a scene from the movie Ace Ventura: Pet Detective with a monkey jumping up and down and a graphic added over top reading Rally Monkey. Well, of course you know what happened next, or the Rally Monkey would have drifted into oblivion. The Angels plated 2 runs in the bottom of the ninth to win 6-5, and the Rally Monkey was born. Now, one of the monkeys who played Marcel in a few episodes of the TV show Friends was brought in to record new original clips to rally the Angels. Now, the Rally Monkey is still around and makes an appearance if the Angels are trailing by 4 or fewer runs in the 6th inning or later. In 1992, it was World Bowl II. This was the World League of American Football's championship game between the Sacremento Surge and the Orlando Thunder. This was the only time in the brief history of the WLAF that 2 North American teams would meet in the World Bowl. Thunder quarterback Scott Mitchell, who would play 11 years for 4 different teams in the NFL, led the way early, throwing a couple of touchdown passes to give Orlando a 17-6 lead at the half. But quarterback David Archer, who played 6 seasons in the NFL before going to the World League, threw 2 second-half touchdown passes to lead the comeback in a 21-17 Surge win. Archer was named the MVP for his efforts. And time now for today's That's Got Nothing to Do with Sports fun fact. There's a lot of spycraft and subterfuge during wartime. During World War II, for example, the Allies built fake tanks and planes in an attempt to confuse the Germans prior to the D-Day invasion, and all indications showed that the Germans bought it. Well, the Germans attempted the same thing, but their efforts to build wooden planes and tanks was not as convincing. As a joke, an Allied plane bombed the fake setup with fake wooden bombs to let the Germans know that their ruse had not been the least bit convincing. This has been an original Thrive Suite production.